if you could have one balloon just for you at any point in time in history of something in your past or present that traditionally isn't in the Thanksgiving Day parade, who are you going with?
I immediately was trying to think of my favorite shows when I was like, Ryan's age or younger. When I was little, the Disney Channel had just come out and it was like a paid thing. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have it, but Same. My grandparents did. And I don't know if they actually had it or if they have one of those boxes that got all the channels. But my grandpa used to record like just hours of Disney Channel content for me and then labeled it on tapes that I think that my parents still have. It's very heartwarming whenever I think of them, him writing out all the episodes and all the things that were on there. So there were two shows that I really loved. Neither of these were animated. It was like the same style show. One was Dumbo Circus. One was, I think it was called Welcome to Pooh Corner. Mm-hmm. So it was like live action versions of those stories. But Dumbo Circus, I don't know that I've ever even like seen the Dumbo movie, but Dumbo Circus had like this whole different cast, like a different story. And it was like about a traveling circus. So there was a cat who is a trapeze artist. And there was this guy, Sebastian, who is like the kind of like the janitor. And there was a dog named Barnaby. Anyway, I think it would have to be something, I would say more probably from Dumbo Circus. Because the Winnie the Pooh were just like the regular Pooh characters. And I don't know if they've ever been in the parade, but that feels more like probable that they would have had a chance. I'll go with Lily, the cat who is the trapeze artist. That's who I would want in the parade.
That's a good answer. That's like something that's like solely yours as a kid that would like make your morning if it was in the parade. I was obsessed with a show growing up called Wishbone on PBS. And Wishbone was basically a show largely based around a Jack Russell Terrier dog named Wishbone. There was a story arc in the show with Wishbone and his human family of the characters in the in the family going through some issue, some life issue, and Wishbone would be able to equate whatever the character or the characters were going through with a famous novel or piece of literature from long ago. And there would be these sort of like, I wouldn't call them dream sequence scenes, but there would be these cutaways to the actual story arc of the book or the piece of literature playing out, and Wishbone would typically be playing one of the lead roles. So he would be dressed up in the parts, and it would be Robin Hood or Don Quixote. There'd be a whole bunch of different things that episodes that he would do it in. Anyway, I loved Wishbone, and I could not get enough of it coming home from school. Even when I was probably like 10, 11 years old, it was still something that I found myself watching. So I would probably say Wishbone. I think that would be a really cool Thanksgiving morning thing for 9-year-old, 8-year-old Steve to wake up to, is to see a Wishbone balloon in the parade.
Oh, I love that. Slash, I wonder if he was ever in consideration, because it doesn't
I'd
feel...
have to look. I don't know. Yeah.
It doesn't feel that like outlandish, because he had a moment.
He did have a moment. There was a lot from PBS back then, because you always have to account for Sesame Street and something else, but I'm not seeing a Wishbone balloon, and I'm going to tell you why. That fucker Snoopy.
Yeah.
He's always getting the airtime for dogs in the parade. So Wishbone was always batting number 2 behind Snoopy. So
you're right.
Little love for Wishbone would have been appreciated.
Have you ever been to the parade in person?
I have not been to the parade in person. My sister has at least once, and she actually was a balloon holder one year through her company that she worked for. So that was pretty cool. I think she held one of the little stars in the Macy's float. Like they have like little smaller stars. I believe she might have held that with somebody. I don't know if it's more than one person that holds them, but yeah, she held one of the stars. Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh,
yeah.
I feel like if I had to pick something, I could see myself like, I want to hold the star.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to be the one like holding onto the balloon like that year that Barney got like torn open and like was just like like deflated all over the place. You don't want to have that associated like that, to have that hanging over your head for all these years. I mean, it's not ideal.
And I feel like they've really like doubled down on like sensationalizing that event. I don't know. I feel like I'll randomly like see that in my Instagram feed. It's not like, I mean, all these, what is it, like 100 years or something of like doing the parade. Like, of course there's going to be a disaster like that at least once. I'm surprised there haven't been more of them.
This is the difference between you and me. I can guarantee you that probably within the last month and a half, I have searched balloons that have deflated in the Macy's.
You've sought it out. So
that's how I knew it was Barney.
Okay.
I was like looking for examples of ones that have like torn open.
This is why this is showing up in my feed, because you know, like you'll see the things that like your friends have liked.
Yeah.
So the algorithm's
sure.
like, your friend Steve thought that this was really interesting, so have a look.
I like this post because you've interacted with stuff that Steve has posted.
All right. So if you were rooting for someone to get deflated, do you have it out for Snoopy because of the Wishbone thing, or?
Yes. I think Snoopy would definitely be on my list.
You can't kill off one of the classic ones, though. I'm always like, whenever there's like the new one that feels very trendy, I'm always like, you haven't put your time in to be able to have a place in this parade. Like, we've got Snoopy, we've got Santa, we've got, you know, like the stars.
Elmo, Big Bird, right.
These people have been showing up year after year. They showed up year after year separate from the parade. You know what I mean?
Where do you stand on the ones that have had a career prior to, like a
decades Barney
ago? Well, one that comes to mind is Sonic the Hedgehog, because Sonic had a little bit of a revival within the last like 5 years with the movie and some other successful things, but Sonic was birthed when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, is it okay for somebody to have sort of like a comeback and reclaim balloon status, even though the heavy lift was done, you know, years ago? Like Sonic to me is a lot like the Elvis Presley of the music industry, like huge when he came on the scene and then sort of like went away for a while and then like had this rebirth later on in his career and then got a little bit of a revival back into it, but felt like he was sort of living on what he had done, you know, decades prior to that.
I'm okay with the comebacks. I feel like that's appropriate. I think where I have a problem is like Ryan's crowd would not like me saying this, but to have this show that like just came out and is on for a year and like all the 5-year-olds are watching it, no. Because in a year from now, there'll be something else and you'll have forgotten about it. And it's kind of like weddings and people that you have in your wedding. Sometimes you're friends with someone for like 5 minutes and it just coincides with when you're getting married and you end up in their wedding. Then you're like in their pictures or vice versa. Mm-hmm. It kind of feels like that. Like in 15 years from now, if you're searching for parade disasters, you're going to spot this character and say like, what is that? It's a lot to make those balloons.
But for all of the new characters that end up coming into the parade, I feel like it's specifically for a younger audience, right? It's specifically for that group. Like, first of all, maybe have a little understanding. Second of all, for the parade structure, maybe put those balloons up front, because I can guarantee you that this parade that starts at 9 a.m. Eastern is not going to be being watched at 10:45 in my house. I promise you that. So like maybe front load all of those balloons when the actual attention is there. I don't need the marching band from Topeka, Kansas. That doesn't do anything for me. Like, I get it. They had to take like 4 buses to get to Manhattan, and it's a great story, but like, when we really, like, once you have one marching band, like, you really don't need like 4 of them. It just feels like it's a little bit overdone. With one of those marching bands, you could have put in a Wishbone, is really what I'm saying. You could have taken one of the bands out and put a Wishbone in there. And we all could have been like, nobody would have been any worse for the wear.